Hey, this is Luis.
And this is Luis, and we are the founders of BIZBROS.
This episode was recorded at a PodMax Propelify virtual event. And if you don't know, Propelify is an amazing event that will take place virtually from October 5th to October 9th, and it's also their 5th annual event.
Propelify historically has gathered over 8,000 people in Hoboken for a single day of talks, tech, pitches, drones, and more. This year, it's a 5-day virtually experience which will have investors speed dating, the Clean Tech Impact Challenge with a $50,000 prize awarded, talks from guests like Al Roker, Andrew Yang, and New Jersey First Lady Tammy Murphy, and tons of networking opportunities.
So, without further ado, let's jump into this special episode with a guest from PodMax and a sponsor of Propelify.
We've got some
Hey,
fresh new
I'm
young
Luis.
talent
And
doing some
I'm
things that I know
Luis.
you
And you're
haven't
listening
heard
to the
before.
Content is Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit.
If you'd like to learn more on how to turn your content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com. Ooh, yeah.
Guys, today we have an incredible guest. We haven't hit him in the background right now, right? We're gonna introduce him in just a second. But before we get started,
Please go ahead and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button and follow us on social media at BIZBROS Go.
that is right. And if you find this episode impactful, which I am sure you will, please don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
So today, another awesome episode. We partner with PodMax and Propelify to share the stories of some of the innovators that are shaping our future.
Yep.
People that are taking ideas and turning them into reality. FONZI, you're making me scream a lot in this intro. Okay, these stories are meant to empower you to go all out and build a bright future.
That is right. And today's guest is absolutely amazing. We spent 5 minutes talking to him in the background. And just when he popped up, I was like, he has an aura of himself. Like,
I
he
know,
seems
it's such a
such
good
a cool
energy.
person.
Yeah.
And you know what? His superpower is actually imagination, which I am so excited about this because that says a lot. He is super proud of his belief around life and experiences. So I just can't wait to dig into this conversation.
His second thing that he's proud of is the passion itself. We were chatting about this last episode. You know, FONZI emanates passion in everything that he does too. And, he has been told that passion is overrated.
Yeah.
But he is here to prove the opposite. All right.
That's right. He also said he doesn't take life for granted. And guys, I think that's a message we all need to hear. He is a fellow content creator as well. He is a blogger.
Let's go.
And you won't believe this one. I think this is the coolest one. He's a stargazer too, guys. And
That's epic. That's just epic.
That's epic. And I want to learn more about that. He is part of Amplo Global Inc., which we're going to be talking about today. So guys, please welcome Mr. Anirban! Welcome
to the show, Anirban. It was a pleasure to have you here, man.
Likewise.
I love it. I'm like, your face like, what am I getting into right now?
Great energy in the room.
Awesome, man. Well, the first question I got, obviously, before we get into your story a little bit, is that you have a fun story about your name. Like, we have the same name, so we always have to tell that story. But like, what? You guys are brothers and have the same name, Luis? Yeah. It's a marketing move from my mom. Whatever. Okay, but your name, and it has a very special meaning, and I would like for you to kind of share it with the world and with our audience.
Absolutely. So it's Anirban. If you really just keep the A aside and say Nirvana, it's Nirvana. So Nirvana is something around which we call in a Hindu way, it's Nirvana is where you have moksha, right? Moksha is nothing but you leave the universe, your soul is satisfied, and you never have to come back. It's a belief, right? But if you add A to it, it's Anirvana, which is you never have to die. Just like a sun, it never dies, right?
Wow.
So it's about Anirvana, but in Far East we say Anirban. In a fast accent we say Anirban, right? So it's actually in Nirvana, where
That's amazing. It's the first time I encountered this name, and I think it's beautiful. The meaning of it, everything. So thank you so much for sharing it. It's amazing.
There's a hint of jealousy now that we don't have such a cool name like you do, man. Oh man, so that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us, and I'm sure like that's gonna resonate with a lot of people, right? Like we always try to find like this meaning in not just life, but in the things that we do, and it's so awesome that you carry this wonderful, beautiful meaning behind your name. Now, I want you to share a little bit of your story. Like, where are you from? Like, where do you grow up? And then what led you to now, do the things that you do?
Absolutely. So, I'm originally from India and traveled in various cities within India, mainly from a city named Calcutta, which is now, it's a new name called Kolkata. It's a new name. But I have been into other metropolitan cities in India, and of course, when we are growing up, it's very typical in India that you have to be a doctor or an engineer, otherwise you're a failure, right?
Yeah.
Highly competitive, a lot of population. That actually really hit hard in my head. That why my mom and dad kept saying that when I was growing up, that, hey, you have to study well, you have to be an engineer, you have to be a doctor. Why not a stargazer? Why not a blogger? Why not an author?
Yeah.
Right? Why not a musician? Why not a soccer player? Right? So the first that incubation of the questionnaire in my head. So that's where I'm from. And I of course, I got into the grill, I got in the conforming world, and then I had to go for an engineering, which, by the way, I really enjoyed. The 4 years of engineering school, which I never studied. I played guitar and sang and fell in love, right?
Yes.
And but I became an engineer. My dad was proud, right? Said my mom was proud too. And always have a belief of not settling in, which is a good news and a bad news, right? So not a good news for a relationship, not be a good news for a corporate, but maybe a good news for innovation, right?
Yeah.
So that balance of non-conforming mindset has always put me outside the bell curve, right?
Yeah.
And questioning and not taking things for granted that, hey, you know what? The sun always actually rises in the east. That's fantastic. But why, right? That mindset. And and then just journey to from Far East to West after my undergrad, and been in the corporate world for a while. Did my MBA from here and learned a lot. It's a life-changing event for me in those 2 years.
Yeah.
Very humbling experience. And in fact, a short story there, right? I was in the dorm, and the room beside me was the guy. I said, hey, I'm Anirban, and I'm a big fan of Kurt Cobain. I used to listen to blah, 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 he talked, and then he said, hey, I'm Josh. I said, what you do?
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, I'm a fellow student here. And he goes back to his room. 3-4 trimesters over, I see him in the TV. He's getting a Purple Heart from President Obama.
Oh my God.
And I says, Josh, you never told me this. Yeah, I was in Navy SEAL. I said, what? So I was in Tora Bora. I got some bullets at the back, and I'm a retired Army person, and I'm a veteran, and here I am.
Wow.
What a humility, right? So I learned so much from that story, and it makes me more humble. And I left corporate around 2018, and then I started this organization, Amplo Global Inc. Amplo means amplification. And we have some unique attributes in the company too, besides what we do, is that our chief commercial officer, his name and my name is exactly the same. We are brothers from different mothers, but he's Anirban Bhattacharya. I'm Anirban Bhattacharya.
Wow.
And then He happens in Amplo Global Inc. No connection, by the way. He's local. He lives in Princeton, and he has around 25 years of
Wow.
experience in pharmaceutical industry.
And,
The
and here I
difference is
was
that he's a
thinking,
PhD.
and here is I was just thinking that there's only one of you.
Wow, it's an amazing,
That's so awesome.
amazing thing. But we have a good team. We have our chief commercial officer is from Princeton, but we have some presence in California as well. Himanshu Mishra is one of our partners in crime. So, and we have some champions in Indian chapter as well. So yeah, so just to come back, that's what Amplo Global Inc., where we are right now.
Dude, that's so exciting. And you know, they're like, what a story, right? From India. You know, we're originally from Venezuela, right? And our parents, we're very, very lucky because they're like, dude, if you want to go do whatever you want, but just like be the best at it, right? Like do the best you can. He's like, you want to be a shoe shiner, be a shoe shiner, right? And for us, like, I think we're lucky because not a lot of people get that experience. But I found fascinating, right? Like we know people here where we live in Florida. We have a big Indian community too. And it's always the same. It's like either engineer or a doctor, right? And it's so fascinating to me, like, why is that a thing? And then also fascinating that you were able to kind of break that mold and you have this artistic side of things, that stargazing and like more of like going through the passion and the romanticism. Why that fixation of like this, like, you know, professions, I guess. And then it's so fascinating that you were able to kind of break them all and make it of your own and now chase these passions that you guys, that you have. How was that experience? Because, you know, we translate that into the business side of things, right? We're always like, you know, we're trained to go to corporate, to like these things and work for like these massive companies, but then we don't feel fulfilled. And then some of us break that barrier and go follow our passion. So what made it for you? Like, what made that happen?
The first thing I would say is, I would say that I think I touched upon this is on, my career has grown in strategy and corporate strategy consulting. I always had the passion to do something different in strategy and break the norm. That's the DNA I carry.
Love it.
To think in that direction. So that's always there, to do something different and disruptive in strategy. That's number one. Number two is that as I followed a lot of mentors and they coached me, and I'm the big fan of CBS 60 Minutes. I watch it religiously every Sunday. It all, and the books I read and the thoughts that go through in my head, it's all about remove that fear from anyone's life. Now, removing the fear and the fear of failure is what makes us human, right?
Yep.
Well, fear of failure, and it makes us human. And removing that fear of failure, it makes us a better human being, I would say in this way, right? So that is the second thing I would say. First is a disruptive nature. Second is the removal of the fear from somebody's mind. And third is, with my experience, right, that I've seen some curveballs in my life 1.0, as I call it, right, from life 2.0 entry. I think leaving back a legacy, creating an impact, and have a playbook in place, right? And playbook is nothing but, oh, you do this, you will be successful. If you don't do this, you will not be successful. No. Playbook is something, it's an experience booklet where you would say, oh, okay, if my goal is this, even if I achieve 70% of this, I can have a satisfied soul, and then I get nirvana, right? So that's where drove me to create this organization with my partners and really create a mindshare where, yes, you could innovate, you could disrupt a space which is very stable. Yeah. Strategy has been very stable in the last 50, 60, 100 years. You would see that there's an internal corporate strategy group who does strategy, or there's a consulting firm who you would hire to do strategy, right? Yeah. Now we have a platform which are empowering business to do strategy. The corporate strategy group can take this as an accelerator. The outside consulting firm can take this as an accelerator and leverage the product. I'm not cannibalizing any of the business model we have, but we are saying, take control of your future, do your own strategy, see some of these checkpoints. So it's all about the journey from breaking the norm and thinking differently, have a roadmap to remove fear from life overall, not only from professional life, but overall life, right? What is fear? I mean, if you have, I mean, at the end, you have to leave the universe, which is inevitable. But till the time you're here, A, believe in imagination, more powerful than knowledge. B, keep your passion on. C is don't take life for granted, which leads me to creating this organization, I would say. And huge learning from, as I call Life.O, from corporate, right?
Yeah.
Where I always want to think that, am I at the right pace of the organization? Is I'm ahead of the organization or behind the organization? Am I bringing some ideas which are not going to work? Some of my ideas got shut down. Some of my ideas got accepted. So it's a mixed bag, right? And then I decided to do something on my own, if it makes sense at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm loving this, and you've talked about some topics that I'm very passionate about. I know my brother is passionate about those too. You talk about conforming world, right? And then being having a non-conforming mindset, which, I feel it's sort of a trait for entrepreneurs, especially people that go on and try to create their own thing, right? You talk about breaking the norm, disruptive strategies, and one of my favorites is the removal of fear, right? Ooh. And it's because I feel we are on that stage of our life where, for us, we work with a lot of content, and putting ourselves out there, that was a big fear of us, right? Like fear of judgment. What are other people going to say, right? And I feel like we have been experiencing this journey of, we always say fear doesn't go away. We just train our body to act regardless of the fear, right? So I'm curious, I feel like you are a very spiritual person, and you translated that into your business, which I'm going to be 100% honest, I absolutely love. Because I've been getting into, I feel like I've been pretty disconnected of my spiritual side most of my life, and lately I've been finding that side, and it has been very exciting, right? I've been learning a lot of things. I've learned to see traits in other people that I didn't see before, right? Very exciting things. So I'm curious, how has it been, that journey for you in the business side, right? Like, how did that translate when you started your business? How do you implement all this spirituality side into your business as well?
Great question. So the first thing which I sometimes haven't done a good job, but I always learn from it, is to really bring the first 20 to 25 people with me. And when I say I haven't done a good job, I meant to say that now the selection piece of it is, how do I recommended or asked to be done in the last 2.5 years, right? Some partners immediately gelled, and some partners questioned my thought process. Now, when somebody is questioning me that, hey, is this right what you're doing? I don't think it will be successful. Taking a step back, really apply that learning to the model that I have taught, which I'm not diverting from it. I have a goal, which only I know and a few others know, not the first 50, 55 people know, but that goal is straight and strict.
Absolutely.
People are giving ideas, right? Listen to them, bring those ideas in, and always check against that goal, because I believe in that goal. I have faith and trust in that goal. Now, if you see that somebody is not aligning to that goal, how do you make sure you coach that person back? Not to be stubborn and say, hey, I'm right, but convince him or her that why this is right. That's a big part of entrepreneurship. That big part of belief that this is the reason I started in 2018, April 7th, right? And where we are today is because of this. But if you don't believe in this, here is why you should believe in this. And I would love to listen to you and incorporate this in maybe later part of the company. That's first thing. It's all the people management aspect. Yeah. It needs a lot of spiritual maturity to take that heat and keep going on. The second piece of spiritual aspect that I brought to the table is every day that passes by and I see my balance sheet, and I don't want to be rude here, but not everybody will be able to take that, because when I see the balance sheet, the cost is more, revenue is less, and the revenue is more, cost is less. Right?
Absolutely.
It's a moment of truth in my life where another person can retire. Right? Hey, you know what? That's not for me.
Yeah.
That something also gives me a lot of power, because I believe in spirituality. To see I can have the eye to eye with my balance sheet and I talk.
Yeah.
The second, people, balance sheet. Third is, how do I create a belief system and a value system to a prospect or a client to leverage our platform for doing strategy without being a brand? Without being a brand. Why they will believe in us, right? Because we have to show versus tell, right? The reason they will believe in us, because this is next gen, this is cutting edge, this is something that in 2025 people will be using this. I know that it's very visionary that we are doing right now.
Yeah.
Just like we will have flying cars in a few years, right? So all these aspects of people, finance, customer centricity, all comes with a lot of thoughtfulness and the experience that I've gained and the failures that I have in my life, right? And every day I wake up, I put my feet on the carpet. I believe that this is it.
Yeah.
And one big thing, which encompasses these three big things I talked about people, finance, and convincing a prospect, is all about, once you know why you are in this universe, this is very important. If you know this faster in your life, you'll be more satisfied. I'm not saying successful, more satisfied. I know why I am in this universe. Very few people can talk like what I'm talking now. I know why I'm in this universe.
Yeah.
I know the reason why I'm here. And the reason why I'm here is to leave back a playbook.
Wow.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but like what you're saying is so, first off, very profound. Not a lot of people, again, can talk at the level that you're sharing these ideas, right? And especially to lead an organization like you are, right? Casting that vision. A lot of the people that we talk to or kind of engage with are entrepreneurs that are starting their own journey, right? So they're gonna face all that. We've been there for the last 5 years. Every single day, life literally slaps at you, right? We talk about this on the show every single time. FONZI slaps at me. You know, it's okay. We're brothers. But, you know, but we had this experience with COVID, like 5 months ago, that we lost almost 80% of the business that we had, right? And it was because we're serving a type of customer and we're like, wow, how do we come back to this? And like you said something that I related really profoundly, where it's like, not everybody can take that, right? And it's funny because as soon as we pivoted and we changed our perspective and we're like, hey, let's look at this as an opportunity, right? To learn, to improve, to like, hey, let's face that fear, like right in front of it. Let's put fear a name and actually talk to fear, because fear is going to tell us where to go, how to fix things, and how to take things to the next level. And with you facing your balance sheet every single, you know, day, month, whatever, however you see it, and facing that, and it's like, hey, there's a lesson there. Let me turn around and actually share it with my team, cast my vision, and make him super excited to be in this journey with me. That's not very easy to do, right? And as we expand our team as well, that's something that we've had to learn how to do, because sometimes, you know, days are bright. Sometimes days are not so bright sometimes, and we gotta still have that drive. How do you find that drive? And you mentioned, you know exactly why you're in this universe. But for somebody that doesn't have that clear, how do they get clear on that and then transmit it to their teams?
A very, very good question. And and drive is also relative, right? You will have a driveway with tables, or you have a driveway with black pitch, right? It's drive is also is relative. So I would say that I have always believed in some sort of validation, and sometimes it's a good news or a bad news, right? Too much validation is also sometimes a symptom of nervousness, right? So I have learned to optimize that validation point. And the validation where we have right now is tremendous. That I will be very specific to the business we have, and then I'll go a little broader than the business to answer this drive question, is we believe in artificial intelligence and machine learning based design, modeling, business modeling, which leads to profound strategy of an organization. And even to say that if the strategy is right for an organization, we are those bold movers in the ecosystem who are challenging the prospects to say that, hey, I know you run the business very well. You transform the business very well. But what we do with you is change the business very well, right? This message needs a lot of validation. So I have that validation that gives me that drive to move forward every day I wake up in the morning. That's we are the right time, right place in the ecosystem. Just like in 1978, Steve Jobs was there in the right place, right time, right? Plus of course, he's Steve Jobs and he's out of the world, right? So it's great. I'm not comparing us to Steve Jobs. Right, but that right place, right time is also important. That drive actually becomes more drive, right?
Yeah.
The second thing I would say is the champions I have around, right? Let's say my chief technology officer in Bangalore, or my chief operating officer in California, or my chief commercial officer in Princeton, right? My chief design officer in Edison, right? So my chief financial officer in Albany, right? So it's the people that I have. They also keep me intact and tight to say, they also check me. They also keep a check on me too and make me a better human being. That's a drive too, right? Yeah. And drive 3 is that when I'm working today, I do believe that today is my last day at work. I do believe that. Today is my last day at work. There's no tomorrow, right? And that is a good news and a bad news too. The good news is that full throttle passion come into it. The bad news is that little bit of an impatience to there's no tomorrow. Yeah. How do you balance it, right? So all these things form drive, right? There is no tomorrow. There are good people around me, and the validation that I have, right? And that's huge. So when we all wake up in the morning and I talk to a prospect or an internal leader or a person, right? Always be on the phone, right? It's every time I'm talking, I'm learning. It makes me thinking, and I'm learning, and again I'm unlearning, and again I'm talking. That's the drive, right? And the appetite, and this is very important, right? As I call it, a life 2.0, right? The appetite of unlearning is huge, and it should be huge. Otherwise, you will not be able to have that drive. Yeah. Unlearning is important because people have led a life, right? That's the reason you always get to hear 80-20 rules, right? Yeah. 80% of the rule, people will be, they're so lucky they're born, they are heavily like very proud they're born. They have a lovely breakfast, have a lovely lunch, a good work, and then check off nirvana, right? So, but I challenge that. I say, no, that's not enough, right? Okay, do you know why you're born? Do you know that we're in the universe, right? That checkpoint is very important always, right? And that's huge, right? I'll just leave it there.
So awesome.
Wow. I love the appetite of unlearning. I think it's absolutely amazing, and something else that I mean, I've taken so many notes right now, things that we've talked before, but first I want to address satisfied instead of success. I think that is so important, right? I'm just relating everything from a very personal standpoint, but there are some times where you are having success, but you might not feel satisfied, right? So I feel like success doesn't necessarily mean being happy or that you manage something that is meaningful for yourself. So I love how you have satisfied as a priority. Actually, it is the first time I hear that, and I absolutely love it. And then something that you were just talking about right now is the community aspect. Like, you are surrounding yourself with people that not necessarily always think like you. They are open to challenge your ideas, and you are willing to listen and rethink over and over, okay, am I having the right approach? And I think that is so important because a lot of people, like you were saying, validation, right? They just want to surround themselves with people that always tells them, yes, that is the way. Yes, that's how you do it. Yes, right? I guess like having that feeling of I am right. And when we look at leadership, good leadership, the people that personally are the best leaders are those that listen, that are not afraid of being that their ideas being challenged, learning from that, and then being able to communicate it in a good way.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that.
Yeah. These are all powerful things that, you know, you brought from your personal life, your story into this amazing company that you guys now run. And then it translates, I'm sure, into like all the clients or the people that you guys serve, which is very powerful. Just ourselves, I mean, you see my iPad, you see FONZI's notebook there, it's full of notes. We're like, we need to implement that.
Yeah, we need to have a conversation.
We need to have a conversation.
We need to keep going with this conversation because it's absolutely amazing.
So, Anirban, where can people find out more about you, about the company? Like, if they're interested, right? If they want to like take their company, their strategy to the next level, how can they find you?
So first of all, we have a website, which is amploglobal.com. Of course, that's saying a lot of information out there, but sometimes it can be confusing. So it's also a new concept that we brought to the market, of productizing strategy and take the control of your future. Self-empowered, self-directed strategy that you could do. And so sometimes it gets confusing. So I can share my email address if that's okay.
Yeah,
absolutely.
My first name, Anirban, ANIRBAN @amploglobal.com. And people, please feel free to write to me, and I will be responsive to it. And we really want to make a change to the and create some impact.
I love it.
And I look forward to have more of these interactions. It's really, as I believe in one of the three things I talked about, validation. As I speak also, I listen in to myself and see how I can improve for the next time. So this is great. I mean, and I'm very humbled to have interactions with you.
Thank you.
I watch a very nice movie. I forgot the name of the lady who really fought for the president in your country of origin. The name is not coming in my head right now, but she did a brilliant job. I watched the movie on Netflix, so it's been a great thing. And whatever you both have done is wonderful, right? You break the barrier.
Thank you.
And it's amazing. Full respect.
Yeah, this was truly an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
I honestly did not expect that it was gonna go that way. So awesome, and you know, I'm sure we'll have you back on the show to like keep us updated on what you guys are doing, because I think strategy and this new concept that you guys have been able to develop, I think is really interesting, right?
Yeah.
And where people know, the audience knows that we like to try new things. We actually use our content to try new things in the industry, always innovating. And what you guys have been doing, it's awesome. So
before we leave, actually, because I know we're running tight on time here, but I want to ask you one last question. Is there anything we didn't cover, we didn't talk about, that you think the person on the other side listening, they need to know?
Just don't stop believing in yourself.
Yes.
Love it.
That's it.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Guys, we're going to leave all the links right in the description. All you got to do is scroll down, tap it, communicate.
Yeah.
And
we encourage you to send Anirban an email. Please do. Again, his email is anirban@amploglobal.com.
Sweet. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Content is Profit podcast. Go ahead and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button and follow us on social media at BIZBROS.
That is right. And if you find this episode impactful, which I am sure you did because it was mind-blowing, don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.